Well, I don't know how we managed it, but we're back here once again. Every time I think I'm done with you, I find myself back at your door, Crimson Vow. You know, it's interesting. I don't know what exactly is going on with the old spoilerinos at Magic the Gathering Wizards of the Coast. Maybe they're reacting finally to the exhaustion people have from the perpetual hype build-up, perpetual spoiler season, and now they're slowing down. But we got our first look at Kamigawa Neon Genesis Evangelion. Feels like months ago at this point. I'm pretty sure it literally has been months. And haven't heard much since then. I keep waiting for the sunset show of limited resources to drop about Crimson Vow. And the sun never sets, funnily enough, in the vampire world. So, what does that mean for us today? It means we get to continue our pursuit of total victory in Crimson Vow. So, with that being said, let's jump into a draft, shall we? And let's hope for a freaking bomb mythic rare. Survey says a land. Dreamroot Cascade, green-blue land. Okay, so no bomb in pack 1. So what will we take? Well, there's Brambleworm. 7 mana, 7/6 reach, trample, gains you 5 life. You can exile it from the graveyard to gain 5 life. That's quite good. Catapult Fodder, which is, a 1/5 zombie. Beginning of your upkeep, control 3 or more creatures that each have toughness greater than power. It turns into the Catapult Captain. And Vile Spawn Spider, a 2/3 reach for 2. Beginning of your upkeep, mill a card, pay 4, sacrifice it. Make an insect for each insect you've got in your graveyard. Each creature, rather. You know, I'm a simple man. I'm taking the worm. It's a 7-drop, which, is not a great place to begin, but I believe in the power of us. Well, we could immediately try to support it with a Nature's Embrace. This is an aura that can go on a land to boost its mana production by 1, but I don't know. We have Crawling Infestation. 3 mana, beginning of upkeep, mill 2 cards. Whenever one more creature is put in your graveyard, you make a 1/1 green insect creature token. Or an Oak Shade Stalker, 3 mana, 3/3 werewolf that turns into a 6/3 werewolf. I'll be real, I'm not impressed with a lot of this. I think I'm going to take the Crawling Infestation. Nature's Embrace goes better with our first pick, but in my experience so far, I've found that you can really get as many of those as you want. Nobody's fighting over that. Best card in the third pick here is Arm the Cathars, which is a double white spell that pumps your entire team, basically. I can't say that that's too interesting. We do, however, have a Skywarp Scob. 2/5 flyer for 5. When you're battlefield, you can exile 2 creature cards from your graveyard if you do draw a card. That actually goes very nicely with our Crawling Infestation. There's a chance that we could wield that green-blue bug. We'll see. Next pick here, we have a Paxong Pup, which is just a pup. I think we're going to take probably the Pig Farmer. I've yet to pass it up, to be honest. It just always gets better. Even though we're not specifically a training deck this time around, it could still be good. And we got past another one. Is this what we're doing? I don't see a reason not to. I take that as a pretty good sign, getting past 2 Pig Farmers in a row. And then to follow it up, we've got a Cartographer's Survey, which can help us ramp, albeit not great. And a Toxic Scorpion, which can help us survive. We've got a lot of more expensive things right now, so I think I like the Toxic Scorpion. We're doing exactly what I like to do with these decks, where we're just playing Toxic Scorpions and Pig Farmers, basically. Next up, we have a Mulch, which is okay. A Cloaked Cadet. That's a trainer that can reward us for our pig farmers, you know? I buy it. I think that could be good. And now we have a lot of nothing. We got past a very late Skull Scob, which is like one of the only good exploit cards. Or we could continue to cut off green, and I think I value cutting off green more than randomly taking a not so good card. Blue-black is not where we're at right now. Got past a Mulch. We might play it. I'll keep it in there for now. A bunch of red and white in the last few picks here, which we don't care about. So right now our deck is all green cards and a Skywarp Scob, so we're definitely not married to blue. We're almost monocolor, which is a great place to be after pack 1. It means if we open a bomb rare, then we have the opportunity to just go all in on it. Imagine opening a bomb rare. What must that be like? Instead, we have to kind of cobble something together with our pig farmers and scorpions. The thing that dreams are made of. A bunch of nothing here in the last couple picks. We'll take a Selhoff Entomber and put it where it belongs in the sideboard. That is the 1 in a blue looter, but the trick is you have to discard a creature card, which is not something you typically want to do. Recently won a Lemmy from Limited Resources for being the most incorrect card grade of the year. Luis was quite high on it. Marshall was quite low on it, and guess what? It's not very good. Get past a Siphon Essence. I mean, it's a playable. I'm not super high on it, but you can play that card. Okay, so we did indeed open up a rare by invitation only. 3 white, choose a number between 0 and 13. Each player sacrifices that many creatures. So it's a Wrath at the end of the day. In our all creature deck, I don't think we really want that though, unfortunately. There is an uncommon that is quite good, Child of the Pack, 4-mana 2/5 human werewolf that turns into a 5/5 trampler, but importantly, you can pay 4 mana to make a 2/2 green wolf creature. It's between that and a Wolf Strike, which is just a good removal spell, of which we have none currently. So the Wolf Strike, while boring, I do believe gets the nod. Man, you just can't win with these rares. The funny thing is, I think that Wrath is actually good. It just is so against everything else that we've put into the deck so far. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Well, we've got one more swing at it. And, you know, early picks in pack 2, there's a chance somebody could pass us something that doesn't fit their deck. Ha ha ha. Yeah, right. We get past another dual land. Oh, quite unfortunate. So, okay, we're not doing that. What are we doing instead? Well, we have a Griffwing Cavalry. Should we just move into white? We did get past a lot of white at the very end. In the last pack. Boy. There's also an Evolving Wilds. Or we could take this dual land. You know what? I'm ready to get spicy. There's also Fierce Retribution, which is just another good removal spell. Lordy. I decided to get spicy. I took the blue-red dual land to enable some nonsense. Now we get past a Diver Scob, which is a 3/5 exploit that can tuck a creature. You exploit. Another Toxic Scorpion. I mean, y'all know how I feel about Toxic Scorpion. I'm very much for it. The Diver Scob is interesting. It's just generically powerful. I'm going to take the Diver Scob, which is good. I'm very glad I did, because we get past another Toxic Scorpion and another Skywarp Scob. Which do I want more? How many 5-drops have we got right now? 3 5-drops, 2 2-drops. Ugh. We're just going to win with these Skywarp Scobs. I'm picking another Skywarp Scob. I mean, I really do want these Toxic Scorpions, but I think we're going to get those later regardless. Now we get past another Skull Scob. If we had taken the earlier one, I could see doing that, but I believe that ship has sailed. Instead, we're going to take an Apprentice Sharpshooter, another trainee. Now we get past a Mulch and fuck all else, so Mulch it is. Now a Moldgraph Millipede, 5-mana 2/2. There's battlefield, mill 3 cards. Put a 1/1 counter on it for each creature in your graveyard. For 5 mana? No, we're gonna go with the Syncopate. That is an insulting amount of mana. Now we have a Lantern Bearer, which is a 1/1 flyer that disturbs into an aura that gives 1/1 in flying. That's good enough. Good enough to get in there. Scattered Thoughts, 4-mana instant that draws some cards. Or a Cradle of Safety, which is basically an annoying counter spell that can stop a removal on your own creature. You know what's better than a goofy combat trick? Is drawing cards. So that's what we're going to do. Now what? Now nothing. It's really drying up out here. We'll take a Stitched Assistant. 3-mana 3/2 with a crummy exploit. At this point, we're pretty firmly in green-blue. Still have the blue-red land. If something really compelling came around to us, we might make a switch, do a little red splash, make a little love. Last 2 cards in the pack, Skull Scob and Sigardian Paladin. So these are not well-liked archetypes, are they? Okay. A rare, another Torrent's Fist of the Angels, which we've drafted once already. We are not in green-white. So where does that leave us? And then our other uncommons are Rending Flame, 3-mana deal 5 to target creature or planeswalker. I think that's the pick. Not the best red card or red splash, but there really was nothing in there that we wanted otherwise. Now it's really drying up. Cruel Witness, 4-mana 3/3 flyer. It's just kind of generically fine. A Nature's Embrace ramps us from 3 to 5. That actually sounds good. We have a lot of 5+ drops. Okay, now we have to choose. We have, oh my goodness. We have an Evolving Wilds, which can help our splash. We have a Pig Farmer, as we know, just very good, but an Abrade, 2-mana deal 3 to a creature. I think we take the Abrade. I really want that Evolving Wilds, but I'd rather get good cards to splash and then try to make the splash work. And here we have another Syncopate, I suppose. Don't know how many of these Syncopates we're actually going to play, but I guess now we have the option. Whatever that's worth. Oh, it's really dried up. I'm kind of surprised at how few green cards we're seeing here in the end. Because we were really set up initially. Yeah, and continue to get nothing. So this time, we could get another Diver Scob, which is very good, but I think we have to take this Honored Heirloom, which is a Manalith, essentially, to better enable our splash. And here we are at the very end with a Vile Spawn Spider. I will happily pick that up. That's actually a good pickup here at the very end. Another Skywarp Scob. or a Spore Crawler. There's also a Chill of the Grave, just generically good. We're just going to win with these 5-drops. I think, yes. Boy. White is a bad color, huh? 6 cards left in the pack. 4 of them are white. Not much of a secret, but the secret is out. White is a bad color in this format. Now we have another Cruel Witness. Sure. Let's see. A Cradle of Safety. Don't know if we'll play it, but I don't mind having it. Another Stitched Assistant. We've got cuts to make. Big time. And there we go. So, we managed to pick up a single rare, and it is a dual land. It's not a good place to be in. I have heard and I believe that this is a print set, meaning that the rares are very swingy and can just win games all by themselves. It's kind of what dictates the format. And we have had very bad luck opening them. At any rate, I will try to cobble together something with our commons and uncommons, and I will get back to you right afterwards. Bada bing, bada boom, like magic. It is done. So we have I don't know about a brew. We've got a blue-green deck here that is mostly focusing on flying creatures. So we've got double Skywarp Scobs and a Cruel Witness, as well as some other high-end cards. Diver Scob, Brambleworm, a couple Pig Farmers, the Rural Recruit. And we also have a sort of side strategy of putting cards in our graveyard and benefiting from them, what with the Vile Spawn Spider and the Crawling Infestation. So we've got some stuff going on here, and we've got a little bit of a splash with red, which is just enabling an Abrade and a Rending Flame. So just a little bit of extra removal. As with pretty much all the decks we've drafted in this format, this is a very nuts and bolts deck. Nothing too fancy going on here. So we'll see how it goes. Join me after the break for game number 1.
Hello, it's me, Corbin. Why should you listen to Dames and Dragons D&D Actual Play podcast found on iTunes, Google Play, and more, you ask? Because, my friend, if you're a crow living in a giant featherless body, and who isn't, you will adore this show! It's relatable, it's funny, it's full of crows, mainly one, who is me. It's original, it's fast-paced, it's worms, it's corn chips. I'm hungry. Be sure to listen to Dames and Dragons while I get a snack.
Game number 1, here we go. Well, 2 lands, no 2-drops, but a Nature's Embrace. Our opponent goes first, so we will get to draw first. So I think we're going to keep. I don't think we're going to get a better 6-card hand. Basically, sometime in the next 3 turns, we need to rip a land. We do not on the first turn. Our opponent on their first turn went Forest Ascendant Pack Leader. This is a 1-mana 2/1 wolf. It enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it. If they have a permanent with mana value 4 or greater, they don't, obviously. But when they cast a spell with mana value 4 or greater, it gets a 1/1 counter as well. They follow it up immediately with a Bramble Armor, a 2/1 equipment that is immediately equipped to it. So they just smacked us for 4. This is awful news. We did not draw... We have yet again not drawn a land. We did draw a Syncopate, so our opponent smashes again. It's 12-20. I hope they play something post-combat that we can Syncopate. They do. Weaver of Blossoms. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and counter that one. Now, we need to draw not just a land at this point. We really need to draw a mountain. We don't. Instead, we draw an island. So this means we're going to Nature's Embrace, put it on our island, guaranteeing that next turn we can cast Rending Flame. Now, we're still going to take at least 4 damage here. We're actually going to take more, because they played a 4-mana spell, Laid to Rest. Smack us for 5, we go down to 7. Laid to Rest is a powerful card. It's an enchantment. When a human they control dies, they draw a card. And when a creature they control with 1 counter on it dies, they gain some life. Well, they're going to be gaining some life. Let's see, we now have access to 5 mana. That's wonderful. That's just enough to not accomplish anything. Do we wait? Do we just Rending Flame them now? I guess so, yeah. We don't want them to combat trick. You know what, actually? We are going to give it over to their turn. There's an off chance they might try to play something to make it bigger. Okay, we'll let them attack. Okay, they didn't cast anything on it, so we will Rending Flame it. And they didn't have a follow-up. Well, that's something, I suppose. What do we do now? We're going to play Crawling Infestation. This is our enchantment that mills us and makes insect tokens. Okay, they passed again. We will mill 2 cards. We did hit a creature, so we get an insect. That's excellent. Now we're going to play our Cloaked Cadet. Our 2/4 trainer. They pass again. What is in their hand that they're unable to play right now? Okay, we hit Crawling Infestation. We got another insect. And now we start attacking them. A Plum Reckon. Get in there with our 2/4 and our 1/1. They go down to 19. Wonderful. We have 7 mana, so it's time for the Brambleworm, my friends. Big Papa. 7/6, reach trample, gains us 5. We're back up to 12. Well, they play a Toxic Scorpion. I'm so jealous. Are they gonna Bramble Armor it up? They woohoo. Well, that was very mean of them. They cast Wolf Strike, which lets their Toxic Scorpion do a damage to our Brambleworm. So they killed it. That was incredibly rude. And for that, they will pay. We're going to Diver Scob them. I don't know what to do here. Yeah, I suppose we're going to Diver Scob them. So we play our Diver Scob. It's a 3/5. We'll exploit an insect. Force them to recast their Scorpion next turn. They put it on top, so they are skipping their draw step. That's wonderful news for us. We'll attack them. It's now 12-16. And let's go ahead and put a stop on the end of their turn. We're going to eat our Brambleworm from the graveyard on their turn to gain 5 more life. They played another Laid to Rest. They have not played a human so far. I assume they have some werewolves that they would love to play. Okay, let's go to their attackers. Okay, so this is interesting. They put that Toxic Scorpion on top, I thought anyway. They have 2 mana and they didn't play it. Does that mean they have something in hand? Don't know. We drew a Mulch, which is basically the worst for us, because our deck now has 16 cards in it. Well, regardless, I'm going to attack with everything. Our Cadet trains, we draw a card, go to damage. They go down to 9. And we drew a Pig Farmer. That was a great pickup. This just means it's going to be very hard for them to win. Especially because we have a Scattered Thoughts, so we're going to draw 2 more cards on their turn. Into the night. It becomes night. They discard any number of cards, then draw that many +1. So it becomes night, and they're going to discard and draw 3 cards, and they have 2 mana available. They look very dead to me. Okay, Scattered Thoughts. We get 2 cards. We're going to get a Cruel Witness and an Abrade. Yes, they are very dead, I believe. We can mill 2. Yeah, might as well. Milled 2 lands, that's nice. Okay, we're going to attack with everything. We draw another Skywarp Scob. And it's irrelevant, because they're super dead. Wow. You know, they got off to a fiery start, and then fell off super hard. Great. Fantastic. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Getting that first win feels big. I really turned into an engine as the game went on. We're going first. We have 4 lands, Syncopate, Mulch, and Toxic Scorpion. Wow. Is that good enough? Essentially 3 2-drops, 2 of which don't give me anything but a Toxic Scorpion. I guess we'll keep. We have good potential to draw into action, so we'll lead off with an island. Let's see what they do. They go forest and pass. We drew a Vile Spawn Spider, which I guess we're going to play. So we can start attacking. You know, I'd like to keep a Syncopate up to counter whatever they've got going. But I want this 2-3 to get down. And luckily for us, they played a land and pass. They are green-white so far. Alright, we'll go to combat. They could have the pay to kill an attacking creature thing. Yeah, I don't see a reason to attack into that. So... but I should have, and then I could have syncopated it. Yeah, that was bad of me. That's fine. Nothing much is going on right now, so we're just gonna chill. They go Snarling Wolf, which they had to have just drawn because it's a 1-drop. That's so unlucky. Unless they were specifically holding up that kill a creature thing. I feel like that's exactly what they were doing. Okay. So now I think we can start attacking. They go for the Fierce Retribution. I knew they had it. We'll go ahead and syncopate that bad boy. It's 20 to 18, and now we will throw out a Toxic Scorpion. I always forget the second. I just think of Toxic Scorpion. 2 mana, 1/1 Death Touch. Very good. But it actually gives Death Touch to another creature when it comes into play. I could have just had my spider get Death Touch. Doesn't really matter, but you know. Our opponent played a rare, Welcoming Vampire. 2/3 flyer. Whenever one or more creatures with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under their control, they draw a card. That sucks to hear. That sucks. Let's go ahead and attack them with our 2/3. They could block with their own 2/3, but we have 4 mana up. They just went for it. So they're trading their wolf. This is so bad of them to take that block. If we had any combat trick, they would have just 2-for-1 themselves. Instead, it's just a 1-for-1, you know, not that big a deal. So now we're going to play an Honored Heirloom. And we're going to mulch. So we drew 1 card and milled 3 cards worth of action. That sucks. They play a Moonlit Ambusher. 3/3 werewolf that turns into a 6/3 werewolf. Yikes, man. Yikes. We play a Cloaked Cadet, and with that, though our opponent is not aware of this, we are completely out of action. We have a land in play. They play Valorous Stance and kill our Cloaked Cadet. So now we are out of action, and we don't have any cards in play other than our Scorpion. And they play another rare, Hiveheart Shaman, 3/5. When it attacks, they get a basic land that doesn't share a land type. And they can pay 6 to make a 1/1 green insect and put X counters on it, where X is the number of basic land types they control. An absolute house of a card. We did not draw anything. We're going to pass. I mean, this game is over. Their Ambusher flips into a 6/3. They activate the Shaman because they have no reason to do anything else for the rest of the game. That enters the battlefield and triggers the Welcoming Vampire, so they draw a card. This is vile. This is unfair. I want to play with rares. I want cool rares. Crawling Infestation. Game's over. Game is over. We're going to concede. Should be noted, too, we immediately, with our mill strategy there, discarded both of our red removal spells. That could have potentially got us out of that jam. And that was going to be tough no matter what. That was the Prince format that I was talking about. Okay, 1-1. Let's shake it off. Okay, this time we have Syncopate, Scattered Thoughts, and a Pig Farmer. If we're going first, I think I'll keep. The Scattered Thoughts goes a long way to making this hand keepable. We don't have a ton of action, but Syncopate buys us a little time. Pig Farmer is a good 4-drop, and then we can refill with Scattered Thoughts. We drew a land. That's not good. Opponent played Island, followed by Swamp. So, from what I understand, blue-black, not the worst color pair, but Exploit is pretty much the worst mechanic. We drew another Syncopate. I don't hate that. I do not hate that. So basically the first 2 plays they throw at us will be able to counter. They go for a Binding Geist. Yep, that's a big no from me. Get Syncopated. And Syncopate actually is nice there because they would have been able to disturb that back eventually. But instead, how about not? So now we have a dilemma. We've got 4 mana, we can play a 4-drop. Crawling Infestation, the Recruit. I think I want to play the Recruit. Get a 1/1 Trainer and a 3/1. Next turn, we'll be able to use our full mana and play a Crawling Infestation and have Syncopate for 1-up. We basically need them to take a turn off or to play something mediocre. They play Doomed Dissenter, which is indeed not that good. This is a 1/1 that dies into a 2/2. That is fine by us. So now what? We could attack them, which means they could trade off for our 3/1 Pig, leaving them a 2/2, and we would also have a 2/2. We could Nature's Embrace the Pig, ensuring that it lives. Don't know how much I'm into that. You know what if we do this? What if we just skip the combat this turn? And then play a Crawling Infestation. Hold on. There we go. Crawling Infestation. And then we have another Syncopate up. So now we're going to be making some insects, hopefully. And if they use up all their mana this turn, we can Syncopate their action. They swing at us for 1. We will not be blocking that. 19-20. Now just use up all your mana. I beg of you. How about miss a land drop, and then play a 3-drop? So you're cut off of mana. They go for Vampire's Kiss. I lose 2 life, they gain 2 life, and they make 2 blood tokens. Yeah. you can knock yourself out. So it's 17 to 22. We're going to infest the board, I hope. Yep. We hit a creature, so we get an insect. Got a land off the top, so now we can swing away with our pig farmer and the pig. The farmer gets a +1/+1. They take 5. All tied at 17. So now I'll put a stop at the end of their turn. Now we're looking good. We have a syncopate for 1,000,000, so we can counter whatever they do on their turn. And we could potentially also run out a Scattered Thoughts. If they don't do anything, we'll just draw cards. They use some blood, that's not very surprising. They did miss a land drop last turn. Should be noted. They play Aim for the Head. Target opponent exiles 2 cards in their hand. How about I exile 1 card from my hand? My Syncopate. Opponent declines to attack. Makes a lot of sense. We are going to Scattered Thoughts at the end of their turn to draw 2 cards. What do we want? Drew a Cloaked Cadet. Yes, I love that. And a Skywarp Scob. Cloaked Cadet, that is. And Skywarp Scob, that is. It's just nice action. My turn. Let's mill some cards. Okay, we drew a removal spell. That's quite nice. Okay, so we've got options here. I could play the Cloak Cadet and then attack, and then I will get a counter on my Rural Recruit and I'll draw a card. You know, when I say it like that, I don't even know what the other option would possibly be. Let's attack with everything. The farmer trains up, we draw a card. They block the pig, unsurprisingly. Their Dissenter dies and they get a 2/2 Zomboid. So it is 17 to 13. Opponent is struggling. And they don't know, but we have a removal spell and a 2/5 flyer that will draw us a card. Play Gluttonous Guest. They make a blood token. When they sacrifice a blood token, they gain a life. Yeah. Knock yourself out. We're going to continue Crawling Infestation. We missed on that one. We did draw another Skywarp Scob, which is pretty sweet. How many creatures we got in the graveyard right now? Just 2. So, okay. Let's see then. How about this? Strange as this sounds, we're going to Nature's Embrace our Cloaked Cadet and attack with the Recruit and the Cadet. That will train the Recruit and give us another card. And now they have 8 damage coming their way. They block 4 of it, take 4, and go down to 9. We're going to play a Cruel Witness. Just a 3/3 flyer. Just more pressure for the opponent. They're in very deep trouble. They have a 1/4 creature looking down our 4/4, 1/1, 4/6, and 3/3 flyer. And again, they don't know it, but we have a removal spell in hand. In Rending Flame. They look pretty dead to me. They have 2 blood tokens, which they're using. But they're so strapped for mana that even if they find something good, they won't be able to cast it. They play Lantern Bearer. Yeah, go nuts. Crawling Infestation. We're down to 12 cards in library, but I'm not really too concerned about that. And we drew a Brambleworm. I mean, if the game wasn't over already, it's super over now. Go to attack. Swing out. Math is for blockers. They have to block our two biggest things. Or they're just dead. Indeed, that's what they do. Got anything tricky in hand, opponent? With your 2 mana available? It's possible, I suppose. Yeah. After combat, we're going to play the Brambleworm, which can train both of our humans, draw us 2 cards next turn, in addition to just being a 7/6 trampler. Okay, so they did have a bounce spell, Alchemist's Retrieval. They just bounced our Cadet back to our hand. Yeah, I mean, whatever. Play the worm. Gain 5, it's 22-6. We have this 3/3 flyer, a 7/6 trampler, a bunch of creatures, and a removal, which, unless they just hold up mana, which I don't think they really can, we're just going to remove a creature and kill them next turn. Courier Bat. There's a battlefield. If they gain life this turn, they get a creature card back. No, it's just a 2/2 flyer. Do we want to continue milling cards? I mean, I don't see why not. Down to 8 in hand. Okay, so now we can play the Cloaked Cadet, Rending Flame, the Gluttonous Guest. Cruel Witness lets us scry, our opponent surrenders, and hell yeah. Boy, when this deck gets going, it does get going. Though our opponent stumbled quite a bit there, so can't put that all on our deck just being a clearly well-oiled machine. Oiled with the blood of vampires. Alright, 2-1. I am going to take a quick break, but for you, Game 4 is coming right up. And we're back. My belly is full of tacos. I have a mug of tea that I'm sipping on. Give you a little sample of that. And we have a Toxic Scorpion in our opening hand, and you know how I feel about that. I think it's a way to win a game. In addition to that, we have the Vile Spawn Spider, a Sharpshooter, a Crawling Infestation, and a Pig Farmer. Pretty low to the ground hand. I like it. Our opponent went Plains, which also makes me happy. Let's lead off with an island, just to make him sweat a little bit. Who wants to see an untapped island on their opponent's side when they're about to take turn 2? Nobody that I know. They go Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. 2/1 first striker. Non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. That's pretty impressive. So that does mean instead of the Toxic Scorpion like I planned to do, we're going to go with the Spider. It's a 2/3 which can profitably block Thalia. They are attacking with no compunction into our Spider. Presumably they have a removal spell then. We're going to say no blocks. We'll take 1 hit from the Thalia. They had no follow-up play with 3 mana up, which to me suggests that they did have a combat trick. Or they have, again, the destroy target attacking creature for 2 mana. We're not going to walk into it. We're going to play our Apprentice Sharpshooter, and we are going to skip attacks. Let's see what they do. They go for the Estwald Shield Basher. A 4/2, you can pay 1 to have attack as an indestructible 4/2. That's kind of unfortunate. Our Spider milled our Brambleworm. That does mean we get some extra value from it later when we exile it. Nothing right now, though, unfortunately. Okay, well, they have a 4/2 and a 2/1. Now, what do we want to do? We could play a Crawling Infestation. not sure what I want to do here. Here's what we'll do. I'm going to play Toxic Scorpion. Give my Spider Death Touch. Attack with my Sharpshooter and my Spider. My Sharpshooter trains into a 2/5. And they decide to just take it. That works for me. 18 to 16. Now this does mean that our opponent can bash in for a total of 6 here, potentially. Do we just want to trade away our Scorpion to stop some of the damage? I think we'll trade away. Yeah. So the Scorpion is going to kill the Shield Basher because it has Indestructible, but that does save us 4 damage. So we're tied at 16 now. They go Saw Blade Slinger. It's a 4/3. It can destroy an artifact or fight a zombie. We have neither of those things. So no big deal. Kind of in an unfortunate situation now. We have 5 mana. We need double blue for a Cruel Witness or a Skywarp Scob. So our choices for this turn are Crawling Infestation, which will start making an insect every turn, or the Recruit. I think the Recruit is better for blocking purposes. No attacks this turn. So our opponent doesn't have great attacks right now, though of course they could have a combat trick. Arm the Cathars is definitely a concern. Just give them a gigantic attack against us that we couldn't really do anything about. It's an uncommon. You just have to hope that they don't have it in hand. 16 to 16. They play exactly Arm the Cathars. Well, that's a bit unlucky, isn't it? So they're attacking with 2 5/4s and a 6/4. That's awfully annoying, isn't it? Well, let's see. We can double block the Saw Blade and kill it. We could single block 6 damage. I guess that's what we're going to have to do. So it's now 11 to 16. Wow. Got a Nature's Embrace. So we could give 2/2 to our Spider. I mean, I'm not liking the position that we're in. What's the alternative? The alternative is, again, a Crawling Infestation, which will slowly make 1/1s every turn, chump blocker every single turn. I think we're going to go for a stopgap solution. Put a Nature's Embrace on our Spider to make it a good blocker. It's a 4/5 now. So again, our opponent needs something to get through damage. If they attack with both, we can eat their Thalia. They're attacking with just the Shield Basher. It looks like they have a combat trick, but we just are not in a position where we can take the damage. Yep, they have Massive Might. So I gave it +2/+2 and trample. So our guy is dead, and we took a damage. It's now 10 to 16. We drew a mulch, I think, far too late. Let's go ahead and try it, though. Oh, it costs 1 more. Isn't that just magical? Let's go ahead and cast our mulch. We do get a couple lands out of the deal. But now we can't really do anything. We're going to take 4 damage on their turn. And we're going to take 4 damage and lose our shield. No, our board to their Shield Basher. So now it's 6 to 16. They've got another creature, and if I'm correct, that's just way too much stuff. Can play a Skywarp Scob. And exile a couple things to draw a card. Nothing relevant, and we're dead. Well, that was good. That was just a smooth curve-out draw from them. So many combat tricks. We played around them as long as we could. We definitely saved our spider by not playing into it, but eventually we had to start blocking, and we just got by the combat tricks. Couldn't stabilize that time. And Arm the Cathars, like I said, it was like literally the exact moment where I named the card that would be the most backbreaking for them to have, and they had it. We're going first. This hand looks unkeepable. 5 lands, a Rural Recruit, and a Brambleworm. We just don't do anything until turn 4, and then we have nothing else going on. It's going to be a mulligan. This looks better. So now we have 2 lands, Scorpion, Infestation, Diver Scob. I mean, this looks pretty good to me. We'll keep that. And we will throw back what? The Cruel Witness, I suppose? Just a dorky flyer that we don't have the mana for right now. Works for me. Let's play our rare land, since we don't have anything to play with it right now. We did not draw another land, which is quite bad. We'll play our Forest and our Scorpion, and just pray that we draw any land. Our opponent has played 2 islands and a Wedding Invitation. There's an artifact that cantrips, and you sacrifice it to make a creature unblockable until end of turn. And if it's a vampire, it gains lifelink, but they're on blue right now. It seems not good. And speaking of not good, we did not draw a land. Well, what we did draw is, pardon me, what we did draw is a Nature's Embrace, which means if we manage to draw a land next turn, we could play the Nature's Embrace, and that will ramp us an additional mana. We might also just play the Crawling Infestation to start making 1/1 insects. Don't really know. We could pray that our opponent is going to miss a land too. They did. God, we're lucky. We are so lucky. Okay, all attack. So yeah, now do we go for the Nature's Embrace? We don't have a 4-drop. I guess I'd rather get my Infestation going, since we're not under any pressure right now. They have Syncopate. Well, you know, that's honestly fine. It's very sad that we gave them something to do on their turn. But this does mean that we can go for the Nature's Embrace. Alright, let's go ahead and attack them again. We also drew a Mulch. Let's play the Nature's Embrace. Oh, cancel that. We want to mulch because we want to hit our land drop. Let's mulch. Oh, we hit triple lands. That feels so good. They're stuck on 2 lands and we just drew 3 lands. They play a Lantern Bearer. Okay, don't care. We drew a Wolf Strike. Do we exploit the Lantern Bearer and get rid of it? It's just like a removal spell at that point. No, I don't think so. I think this turn we just go for the Cloaked Cadet. And do we attack? No. If I didn't have this Wolf Strike, which turns my Toxic Scorpion into a kill spell on any creature, I would have attacked and traded. But it's just too valuable in hand. Opponent is still missing, which is great for us. So now what? We can go ahead and attack, I suppose, with our Cloaked Cadet. They accept the damage. It's now 20 to 15. I think we'll play our land, play a Nature's Embrace on a land, and then play a Vile Spawn Spider. And end the turn. Our opponent finally hits a third land, a Plains. And they do have a play. Militia Rallier. 3/3, can't attack alone. When it attacks, untap a creature. So it has like pseudo-vigilance. Now, are we at the point where we... What do we do? I think we're just going to Wolf Strike the Militia Rallier. The time has come. So, Scorpion bites the Rallier. Kills it. We go to attack. 3 attacks. Okay, they are blocking the Scorpion. Take 4, so now it's 20 to 11. Let's play the Honored Heirloom. So this is a mana rock. We could exile a card from a graveyard. They do have that Disturb card in the graveyard now. And they've hit another land. They play a Binding Geist. A 3/1 when it attacks. Target creature gets -2, -0. Play a land. Just attack with our Cloaked Cadet. They play Piercing Light. So it's going to do 2 damage to that creature and they scry 1. So it's going to let them trade using their Binding Geist. Okay. So what this does mean for us is now we can play the Skywarp Scob for full value. Because now we have 2 creatures in our graveyard. And we draw our card. And we drew Brambleworm. Very good. Alright, so now they have 2 Disturb cards in the graveyard, but no creatures in play. Let's see what they do. Got a real rasp in my voice all of a sudden. Okay, they play Panicked Bystander. We've seen this a few times. This is a 2-mana 2/2. When it or another creature they control dies, they gain a life. If they gain 3 or more life in a turn, they turn it into Cackling Culprit, 3/5, same ability, but you can pay 2 and give it Death Touch. They're putting Spectral Binding on our Skywarp Scob. I should have got rid of that when I had the chance, huh? That's fine. Well, now we got a big question, don't we? We've got our 2/3. And do we just attack with it? A Plum Reckon. Got 1 blue mana up. They accept the damage. It's 20 to 9. Now, we can either play the Brambleworm, or we can play the Diver Scob, exploiting our Skywarp Scob, and making them waste their turn or lose their creature. What should we do? You know, they've got auras and stuff in their deck. They might aura it up. We just want to use our mana this turn, so we're going to go with the Brambleworm. 25 to 9. Big boy. Shai Halud. But has really been drawing lands. They stumbled hard early, but they've just rattled off like 5 in a row. They play Sigarda's Imprisonment. So that is a pacifism. Now, an interesting situation here. Okay, they are playing the Lantern's Lift on the Panic Bystander. So it's a 2/2, oh sorry, a 3/3 flyer. Pardon me. Well, Now what? We have a grand total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana available to us. Certainly not enough to Diver's Scob and Brambleworm in the same turn. Oh, but it won't go to our hand anyway. Right. I would love to start attacking with my Brambleworm. Let's see. Diver's Scob. You know, as much as I want to get Brambleworm back and play it, I think I'm just going to sacrifice it, target their Panic Bystander. So now they have to choose, do you want it on top of your library or on bottom? It's not getting them out of the current situation they're in, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them put it on bottom. And it must be, because it doesn't show it on top. Okay, and so now we go to combat. Another reason to sacrifice the worm. One, we can now use its ability from the graveyard to gain some more life. 2, our Scob is actually an 0/5 flying wall, which is, not nothing. Opponent has 2 cards remaining, and they surrender. Whew, got there. What a great time for me to mute myself and have a tremendous coughing fit. What a lovely little treat that was. Okay, so we're now 3-2, as usual. Right on the razor's edge, 1 loss. And we go plummeting into the void. But we're now at a point where, worst case scenario, we're 3-3. But we have high hopes, don't we? Okay. This hand's interesting. 3 mana and 4 non-lands. The earliest card is a 3-drop, but it's Wolfstrike, which is a bite card, actually. And then a 4-drop in the Pig Farmer and a 5-drop in Diver's Scob and Skyward Scob. You hate to see these hands because it doesn't feel bad enough to throw away, but it feels so vulnerable. I think we have to keep. I don't think a 6-card hand's going to get better, especially with us playing first. Hopefully us being on the play allows us to develop our stuff a little bit better. Just be 1 turn ahead of them. We'll play our Forest and Pass, see what our opponent is working with. Got the Teferi profile pick. Gotta respect it. They played a Swamp. Fine by us. Okay, we're drawing land, which is not a bad thing. We've got 5 drops we want to be playing. Opponent is black-white. They play a Kindly Ancestor, a good card for sure. This is a 2/3 lifelinker. It dies and disturbs into an enchantment aura that gives a creature lifelink. Quite good. Okay, so what do we try to match that with? The only thing we can play right now is a Recruit. We could mulch, but we've still got lands in hand, and that wouldn't use our mana very well. So now we're in a position where, what do we do if they attack us? We could block with the pig and trade with the ancestor, but then they have an aura sitting in their graveyard. Also leaves us with the problem of they attack, we block with the pig, and they combat trick us. Kill our pig, gain a bunch of life. We still have this annoying creature on their side. I'll probably let it through if they attack us. They did not attack. They played a Diregraph Scavenger, 2/3 Death Touch. When ETBs, it does some stuff with the graveyard, which there is no graveyard right now. So we don't care about that. Well, we have Wolfstrike, which would allow us to kill one of their creatures. But to what end exactly? Yeah, I don't really know that does very much for us. Then we could attack with both things and turn our recruit into a 2/2 and it would just die to the kindly ancestor. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to attack with both of our boys. We have a 3/1 and a 2/2 now that trained up. We have 5 mana untapped, so they could do all kinds of blocks here. It's crazy, man. Players just do not care. They do not care about combat tricks. Alright, well, in that case, they're double blocking. So we're going to Wolf Strike, use the pig to kill the scavenger, trade with the ancestor, we get through 2 damage. No, we don't get through 2 damage. Sorry, that was double blocked. They gain 2 life, so it's 20 to 22. Well, wow. They played the Skulking Killer, so this card I do not think is good. This card is a 4/2. When it ETBs, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/-2 until end of turn if that opponent controls no other creatures. That is some garbage. You know what you get for that, opponent? You're going to get abraded. I guess first we'll mulch. No reason not to mulch, huh? Okay, so, I mean, we mulched, we got a land, and I don't love this, but we did put some creatures in the graveyard. This does make our Skywarp Scob online. So, I'll go ahead and pass the turn. See if they want to put their aura on their Skulking Killer. The way they're sort of playing without a care in the world, I would not be surprised if they threw an aura onto their killer. They're not. They're just going to attack. Do we just take 4 damage in the interest of seeing what happens? Yeah, we're just going to take it. I really want them to put something on there. There's also a chance they play some bigger creature. They play the Archghoul of Thraben. When it or another zombie you control dies, look at the top card of your library. If it's a zombie, you reveal it and put it in your hand. If you don't, put the card into your graveyard. Ugh, okay. I'm not impressed. Well, that's annoying. Are they going to go for the aura now? They go for Radiant Grace. So this is an aura that is going on the killer. So we are going to get an extra card out of them. It's just funny they didn't go for that pre-combat. But they still want to go for it. I guess good on them. Alright, now we can go for our Skywarp Scob. Exile a couple creatures. Draw our card. We drew a Syncopate. That's my fault for auto-tapping that turn. Because our auto-tapper tapped all of our islands, which means the Syncopate we drew, which would have been very good to have right now, is dead in our hand for the moment. Just careless of me. I don't know why, when I have a double blue card in hand already, the auto-tapper would just say, oh, you don't need any untapped of this color. Opponents in the tank. It's 16 to 22. They go for Bleed Dry. Okay, so if it makes me feel any better, they still had mana untapped, so I would have been able, however, to counter that aura that they just threw down. That's annoying. Play our Vile Spawn Spider, which can trade for their Archghoul. They play Pointed Discussion. They draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, and make a blood. Do we just counter it? Yeah, I don't want them drawing cards and getting blood. Okay, they're down to 1 card, and so are we. They're going for the attack. Do I just trade? Yeah, I think so. Okay, I was going to say, no way their last card is a combat trick, and it is not. Okay, their Archghoul found nothing. That's wonderful. Well, All we have in hand is a Diver Scob with nothing to exploit, and they have no creatures. So do we just run out a 3/5 creature? I guess so. It's so lame, but... And then do we just play our Honored Heirloom as well? No. I mean, we could have played it. They play their own exploit creature with a single creature in play. A Rot-Tide Gargantua. It's a 5/4. We draw a Nature's Embrace, which we will cast shamefully on our Diver Scob, which is now a 5/7, so it beats their Rot-Tide Gargantua in combat. We can't attack, though, because they're at 28 and we're at 13. We drew a land. So at this point... At this point, do we just hold on to the cards in hand? I guess we'll play our Honored Heirloom. Because if we wind up drawing our Scattered Thoughts, we want as much mana as we can have. We'll hold on to a land, just for bluff value. They play Restless Bloodseeker, 1/3 Vampire. Beginning of their end step, if they gain life, they get a blood token, sack 2 blood tokens, and transform it. What does it transform into? I guess we'll find out when it's in play. Becomes Blood-Soaked Reveler. Does the same thing but has drain potential. Okay. We drew another land. We'll play a land. Do they have anything in their graveyard we need to exile with our heirloom? Nope. So we'll skip. Would really love a Scattered Thoughts about now. Okay, they don't have anything else for us. Oh, and we drew the Brambleworm. Okay, now we are in business. So do we attack first? Yeah. See what they do about the attack. Probably just take it. They're at 28 right now. That is exactly what they do. It's 13 to 23. Let's play the worm. Now we got 5 more life, 18 to 23. That was a good draw. Ooh, they drew a great one. Nebelgast Beguiler. A 2/5 that has white tap a creature. Just when it looked like we were going to have some attacks. Now we have to hold back both our giant creatures. Because they're going to tap one of them down. They could start doing the little trick where... Oh, if we drew Rending Flame. What do we do with it, though? Do we kill the 2/5 that can tap things? Or do we kill the 5/4? I think we're going to... So we can attack with the 5/7. Yeah. Or do we attack with the worm? Let's attack with the Brambleworm. See how they block. Presumably they'll block with a 2/5 and a 5/4? They just take it. So now it is 18 to 16. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to end the turn without using our Rending Flame. Let them go to tap the Diver Scob, which they, of course, do. Go to attackers. They attack with both their creatures. We Rending Flame the Gargantua. And they surrender. What a cunning play that was. And we eventually did get into some good draws towards the end there. Whew. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, we're currently 4 wins. Looking for that magical 5th win. Let's try to get it. Man, that was a good play. Yeah, once they let that damage through, that was bad news for them. Because then it's like, okay, your tapper is going to be tapped down on your next turn. Your 5/4 is dead. You're going to be taking an absolute massive amount of damage. Now this is a hand I can get behind. Got 3 lands. Actual good early plays with Syncopate and Vilespawn Spider, Crawling Infestation, and an Heirloom. The Heirloom has definitely looked bad in this deck. I regret having it in here. We will keep this 7. Opponent's going first. Old Johnny boy. Okay, opponent is going forest. Alright, let's play our dual land. These dual lands are very impressive. You play them on turn 1, and they're tapped, but you don't really care. And then turn 2, and turn 2 is like the only turn it's no good. It's just so easy for this to be an untapped card. They played Sporeback Wolf, which is a 2/2 on our turn and a 2/4 on their turn. We could play the Vilespawn Spider to block it. I don't mind taking 2 damage though. I'd rather leave our Syncopate up. They go for Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. That's really bad for us. Not bad for them. Another Thalia we're going against. Unbelievable. Well, that's bad because it's a 2-drop, so we can't counter it with our Syncopate. And it's even worse because now our Syncopate costs more. Thalia is weirdly good against us, and this hand in particular. Like, we have a lot of creatures in this deck, but we have Syncopate, Crawling Infestation, and Honored Heirloom, all more expensive thanks to Thalia. That is garbage. So what, do we just go for the spider? No, we're gonna pass. Man, I can't let them get a 4-drop down, I don't think. They just play another 2-drop, Drogskull Infantry. Syncopate has been quite good this draft overall. It's really bad in this particular situation. Our opponent on mono 2-drops. We draw a Braid. It's like I know what's going to happen here. We'll just skip and go to their turn. When they attack us, we'll go to a Braid. Their Thalia. They're swinging for 6. So it's a Braid. Thalia. They have Massive Might, which isn't enough to save it, so they just 2-for-1 themselves. That's funny. Okay, we took 4. It's 10-20. Here's the plus side, though. I could play a 2/4, which blocks their whole team, or I could play a Vilespawn and a Toxic Scorpion. Yeah, do we get the Cloak Cadet out there? It uses our mana more efficiently. Yeah. That 2/4 just shuts down their team pretty well. Right now they could attack us with just a 2/4, which doesn't get through our Cadet. They can attack with both creatures, in which case they'll get through 2 damage, but we'll eat their Drogskull Infantry. They play Sigarda's Imprisonment. It's the pacifism. They attack us. We're down to 6. This is just cruel. Alright, well. Play our Toxic Scorpion. Play our Vilespawn Spider. Oh, we could have got our Heirloom out there as well. Okay, they play Dawnheart Disciple. It's a 2/2 when another human comes into play, it gets +1/+1. Alright. They go for Faithbound Judge. Wow, we actually got them with a Syncopate. This is a mythic rare 4/4 Defender Flying Vigilance. You put judgment counters on it. When it gets to 3, it can attack as if it didn't, and it has Disturb, which is going to be awful for us. What do we do about that? Because the Disturb is really bad for us too. I guess we Syncopate it. Ugh. This is a really bad situation. Because they have... Oh, never mind. I'm talking out of my butt. Syncopate once again proves its worth by fully countering it and exiling it. Our opponent thought about attacking. They do attack? Okay. So what do we do? We could eat the Drogskull and kill the Spore back. But then Drogskull infantry threatens to disturb and kill us on the next turn. I think we just block the Drogskull with our spider. We take 2, going down to 4. We'll play a Crawling Infestation. And we'll go to their turn. So they have a card in hand that we don't know, and they can get back the Disturb aura. But we have our 1/1 Death Toucher waiting to block whatever they put it on. And the Vile Spawn can block the other one. They play, yeah. So they play Sport Crawler. Another creature, which is bad for us. Okay, so we milled some cards. We didn't get a creature, so we didn't get an insect. We did draw a Skywarp Scob, which we just have to play, even though we can't draw a card off it. We just need the blocker. This is a close game. That opening was absurd. We've got Syncopate, and they just played 2 drops underneath it for 3 turns in a row, including a Thalia, making our Syncopate and our removal more expensive. Thalia was very annoying there. As the LR boys say, she's not a bomb or anything, but she's very solid. She's like a really good uncommon. Okay, opponent puts the armor onto the Dawnheart Disciple, and then just attacks us. Well, they've got a card in hand. I mean, we have to block us. No question about it. They lose 2 creatures and draw a card. That was quite bad for them, really. We milled our Brambleworm. Now, I mean, that's frustrating for sure. But we are very low on life, and I don't mind having 3 extra life to pick up. We have 2 creatures in our graveyard. Do we start attacking here? Yeah, let's attack with our Scob. We gotta kill him eventually. Okay, pass the turn. It's 4-18. Bear in mind, we have the Brambleworm, which is worth another 5 life, so it's really like 9-18. They play Reclusive Taxidermist. I would have loved to have that card in our deck. It's a 1/2 that can tap for a mana of any color, but if you have 4 or more creature cards in your graveyard, it gets +3/+2. It becomes a 4/4. They do not have that yet. So it's a 1/2. They play a Spiked Ripsaw. This is an equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+3. Whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice a forest. If you do, it gains trample until end of turn. Well, that's very bad for us. Go ahead and gain our life. Get us out of range of that thing just murdering us. Mill our cards. We're down to 16 cards already. I mean, Scattered Thoughts. Yeah, I mean, we need to cast it for sure. In the top 4, we get 2 to go in our hand. Diver's Scob, Syncopate, and a Roll Recruit. Let's get the Scob and the Syncopate, I guess. Okay. We'll pass. If they go for their Spiked Ripsaw, we could Vile Spawn Spider and make a bunch of Insectoid boys. They go for Cultivator Colossus. This is another mythic rare. A 6/6 Trampler. Power and toughness equal to the number of lands you control. Enters the battlefield, put a land from your hand on the battlefield tap. If you do, draw a card and repeat the process. Sorry about you. You're going to get syncopated. That's 2 mythic rare absolute juggernaut bombs that we have syncopated away. They can absolutely suck our balls. We have 6 cards left in our deck, which is not good. We need to win immediately. We have to stop doing Crawling Infestation. And we also have to get rid of this Vile Spawn Spider. Okay, so let's see. The Vile Spawn Spider right now gets us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those guys. So I think we're going to attack just for 2. And then we can Apprentice Sharpshooter. Yes. And then a stop on their turn to Vile Spawn and make a bunch of insectoids. It's 9-16. This game is so close. They go Heron of Hope, 2/3 flyer. If they gain life, they gain that much +1 instead, and they can pay 2 to give it lifelink. Fine. How are they not going for this Spiked Ripsaw? Okay. Do we just rip this Vile Spawn Spider right now? Oh, that's only as a sorcery. Well, solves that problem for us, doesn't it? Done. Okay. We mill a card. We have to. We're down to 4. I mean, we are going to get milled out. We are not going to take the second action. 3 cards left in hand. So now what do? We are going to Diver Scob. Exploit an insect to bounce the Heron of Hope. We'll see where they put it. I can see them keeping it. But I can also see them being like, it's relatively low impact. Nope, they keep it on top. Okay, so we're skipping their next step. Alright, next to combat. Attack with the Scob and the Sharpshooter. And the bugs. If we attack with the bugs, yeah, it's no good. Okay, we drew a card because we put a counter on that thing. Man, I drew a Skywarp Scob. Not playing this Heirloom is kind of biting us in the ass. It's 9-12. All right. Activate our Vile Spawn Spider. We sacrifice it. We get 5 more tokens. Pass. It turns over. They surrender. Oh my god. I don't even think that game... They must have not realized how close we were to decking ourselves. We had to win next turn or we were just going to lose the game. And I don't know if we had the juice to do it. Well, wipe the brow on that one. That's 5 wins. Okay, well, I'm going to take another quick break, and hopefully we can run the distance. But this is a winning draft, my friends. We have done it. I'll see you for the next game. And we're back, trying to wrap up this draft in fine fashion. I took a break. I played some League of Legends with a friend. We won 2 out of 3 games, and 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Meatloaf, rest in peace. We're in a great spot. We're in a great spot because we could lose this next game horribly, get absolutely decimated, made to look fools, and we already have 5 wins. We've already achieved victory. And anything else we get from here is delicious icing on the cake. French silk icing. Here we go. Oh, we are one forest away from this hand being good because we have a mulch. We can't cast anything in our hand. We have mulch, Vile Spawn Spider, Cloak Cadet, and Skywarp Scob. But for lands, we have Island, Mountain, and Storm Carved Coast. So we're going to pray that we draw a forest. I suppose it's statistically quite likely. Let's go. Opponent goes Island. We drew a Cruel Witness, which is not a forest, but it is a card that we can play after we draw literally any land. Opponent's playing blue-black. Do they have a turn to play? They do. Soul Cipher Board. I do not like this card. Let's try to beat it. We drew Forest. Let's go. So we can play the Forest and drop our Spider, which will start milling us. In addition to being a 2/3 reach. Opponent goes Forest. Okay, so our opponent has a Brew. They play Voldarin Bloodcaster. A rare, 2/1 flying. When it or another non-token creature dies, you make a blood token. Whenever you create a blood token, if you have 5 or more, transform it. It turns to a 3/3, and it turns tokens into bats. That's a very good card. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. So I guess we're going to attack. Oh, we have... Wait, our Spider is reach. So we can just hold it back. Very good. We could play an island. And we could mulch. Which only really backfires if we draw more than 2 lands. We're going to go ahead and mulch. Perfect. So we drew 1 land off of that. Next turn, we've got Cruel Witness. So this Soul Cipher board, 2 mana artifact, has 3 omen counters on it. Pay 2, tap. Look at the top 2 cards. If your library, put 1 in your graveyard. When a creature card is put in your graveyard from anywhere, remove an omen counter. If you get rid of all of them, it flips into a 3/2 flyer. That can then you can pay mana to draw cards and discard cards. It is a lot of work. The issue we're having right now is we just have a pretty slow start, and they have a couple of cards that reward long-term plays. Ooh, we got Wolf Strike. So we could just Wolf Strike them. I think we're going to play Cruel Witness. They have 4 mana up. They could easily counter this. And if they do, they do. They have Syncopate. Alright. Do we want to attack? You know, I kind of do want to attack at this point. There's another deck where they have mana up for a combat trick, but if they have a combat trick, I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, they take it. 20 to 18. They activate their Soul Cipher board, putting a forest into the graveyard. Play a Snarling Wolf. I hope we win. This deck that they're playing seems very unfocused. Voldarin Bloodcaster with its blood mechanic. This wolf, which is a 1 mana 1/1. Soul Cipher board, which is not good. I really want to win. I mean, we knew that anyway, but... Okay, so now what do we do? They could eat our spider with a wolf if we go for that, so... let's not. Best use of our mana is a Cloaked Cadet. 2/4 training. Sure. At this point, I normally I would attack with a spider with my mana up into their Snarling Wolf and be like, they'd be foolish to block this, knowing I could easily have a combat trick. But people just don't play around combat tricks. They will walk headlong into it, and not caring. They're activating the Soul Cipher board again. Here's the problem with the Soul Cipher board. To activate it, to actually get it to flip into the creature, which is the good part of the card, you have to look at the top 2 cards and put a creature into your graveyard, which they just did. A Repository Scab, which can buy back instants and sorceries. It's a 4-mana 3/3. So you're getting away juice that you would like to be drawing in exchange for eventually getting a decent creature. It's just a long way to go for a whatever card. That being said, we're not putting them under much pressure. They could definitely beat us. They play another rare, Runos Stromkirk, 3-mana 1/4 flying. Enters the battlefield, put up to 1 target card from your graveyard on top of your library. So they got back the Scab. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You reveal that card. If a creature card with mana 6 value is revealed, so I transform it into Krathus, Lord of the Deep. This is exhausting. It's a 3/5 flying. When it attacks, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of another creature. This is ridiculous. Okay. So we drew a Syncopate. It's a bit late for that. Now what do we do? Well, their Runos Stromkirk is not going to transform yet. So I think we're going to play a Recruit and no attacks. So, I mean, this is quite bad because they basically just have a lot of late game powerhouses. Voldaren Bloodcaster eventually will get out of hand, and we'll start making blood tokens and turning them into vampires that will kill us. Runos Stromkirk eventually will flip into Krathus, and we'll start turning things. We'll start making copies of other creatures. Soul Cipher board, while slow and clunky, will eventually turn into a 3/2 flyer that will draw them cards. It's just a lot. They bought back their Syncopate with their Repository Scab. So this spider we have has been milling us for 1 each turn, and we want to be milling creatures, and we have not hit one yet, which is very unfortunate. So what do? We just play a Skywarp Scab, even though it doesn't draw us a card yet. I think we just skip our turn here. Keep up a big Syncopate, keep up the Wolf Strike. They activate their Soul Cipher board. I mean, if they hit a creature off of it, it transforms, and then they just start drawing cards and going crazy. If they do that, we'll Wolf Strike it. So we just can't afford them to draw a bunch of cards every turn. Like I said, the trouble is they have 3 slow but powerful engines. Okay, so they are flipping it. And we're going to Wolf Strike it. That unfortunately gives them another blood token from the Bloodcaster. They have 2 of their 5 that they need now. Honestly, what they need to do is just start attacking me. Like, trade creatures. Either you're going to push damage through, or you're going to make blood tokens. They played a Spectral Binding on our Pig, which is now a 1/1. That was fairly mediocre from them. They play a Storm Chaser Drake. 2/1 flying. When it becomes the target of a spell they control, they draw a card. Their deck makes me mad. It's like cobbled together rares and no specific theme. You know? I guess I can't be too mad about it, can I? We milled another instant. Just have both our red spells in the bin. Sure is. We need those removal spells too. Do we just have to run out the Skywarp Scob now? They're not attacking us. There's just nothing pressuring us to play the Skywarp Scob. Stromkirk continues to tick. They're looking for a 6-drop. Haven't found it yet, though. They play Steelclad Spirit. 3/3 Defender. When an enchantment enters the battlefield under their control, they can attack as though it didn't have Defender. Their deck is a mess. But a fun mess. We mill another card, we mill the land. I mean, it's good because we're not drawing these lands, which we don't want. We're doing a lot of nothing, though, is the problem. I mean, they're just getting to the point where they have more creatures than us, can start beating us down. Sacrificing blood tokens. I mean, I can't complain about that too much. It means that their bloodcaster is less likely to come online. They play Persistent Specimen. Now there is something that could be a big problem, and we can't deal with it. Now they can start like attacking with that and pinging us down for damage. We don't want to block it. Okay, we finally put a creature into the graveyard. Our Scob still doesn't draw us a card. We've really stalled out. So it's 18-18. To recap the board, we have our Spider, a Cloak Cadet, our 1/1 Farmer, and a 1/1 Pig. They have the 2/1 Bloodcaster, a 1/4 Stromkirk, 3/2 Stitched Assistant, 3/3 Repository Scob, 2/1 Flying Storm Chaser Drake, 3/3 Defender Steelclad Spirit, and a 1/1 Persistent Specimen. And as we expected, they're starting to swing with the Specimen, knowing that if we block, they get blood tokens. Alright, at last we did mill another creature, so we can play our Scob for value. 2/5 flyer, it will exile those creatures. Draw our card. We drew Brambleworm, which is good. It's not nearly enough, though. Because here's the problem with the worm. Let's say we play it next turn. They revealed their own Brambleworm, so now they have their Krothus online. So when it attacks, they make a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of another attacking creature. The only downside for them is if they attack with Krothus, we can kill it. I wonder if they'll go for it or not. They're just attacking with the Specimen. Are they going to wait until they can play the worm before they attack with Krothus? That makes sense. That would gain them a total of 10 health. Okay. Let's go ahead and play our own Brambleworm. They're going to syncopate it. They did their entire... they did it for the full 5. Shouldn't have done that. Because now we can just syncopate for 1. If they would have left more of their mana open, they could have potentially been okay. I just need to attack with the Scob, I guess. Yay. It's 21-16 now. Damn it, they drew a land, so they get to play their worm. Now it's all but over. So they heal up to 21 as well. Next turn, they will be able to attack us with Krothus and a Brambleworm, make a copy of a Brambleworm, gain 5 life, and they'll be swinging at us for 17 points, 14 of which was trample. We're just going to play out our hand here. we attack? I don't know that we can afford to, even to get the 2 damage through. They're at 21. Like, by the way, a little heads up on our deck here. We have 4 cards left because our Vile Spawn Spider has milled us the entire game. And I think we've milled like 3 creatures. Here's another card. We drew a land. They just didn't attack us. I guess they're just letting us die to our mill. I mean, we could swing out right now. It would not kill them. And we'll just die. We're just going to die anyway. So let's go to combat. And just to be a-holes about it, let's attack with everything. And that way, we die by our own hands. So they've got... I think they could just take it. How much is the total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10... 19 total, if they just took it all. They could just literally take it all. And then kill us on the swing back. Of course, they don't know what we have in our hand. We have 2 cards and infinite mana up, so they can't really afford to just assume I have nothing. Although it'd be very funny if they just did. This is great. I mean, we're going to lose, but they're sweating right now. They're like, oh my god, what does he have? What is he gonna do? How am I about to get bamboozled? Blocks all over the shop. This is hilarious too, because they're gonna lose a ton of creatures here. Meaning they're gonna get like 12 blood tokens from the Bloodcaster. Okay, so when all is said and done, we're at 21, they're at 14. We're tapped out. They have so many creatures with which to kill us. Let's see how much damage they can do. We're at 21 right now. I know it's lethal. I'm not worried about will they be able to kill us. I'm just wondering by what margin will they be able to kill us. Opponent is going through the rigmarole of sacrificing their blood tokens to find cards. Like I said, I guess, they're potentially worried that we have something. We have 2 cards in hand and a bunch of mana. Maybe they're worried, and we did just attack them like a crazy person. So maybe they're like, who knows what's about to happen here. They could also just pass the turn to us. We have 1 card left in our library. They just need to not die. Okay, they're swinging with everything. So let's see how much damage we take in this last turn. Crothus makes a Bramble-Worm, of course. They go back to 19. We're at 21. They're activating their Snarling Wolf. Go for it, man. It was actually less than I thought. We went to -6. I feel pretty great about that. Not only did we wind up with a fine record, we ended up 5-3. We've shown steady improvement throughout the format, and we got no good rares. Basically, we got one good rare in Olivia's Attendance, and that was basically it. And we've gone against that green-white tech, played 2 mythic rare A+ bombs against us, which we syncopated each in turn. And that last one we faced, they just drafted rare.deck. We cobbled together a win. I feel pretty good about it. I'm not even going to say this is our last Crimson Vow draft, because I've said that a few times, and it hasn't been true. So instead, I'll simply say that I will see you when I see you. Thanks for joining me, and good night.